welcome back to the Reformed Film Lab podcast, episode 4. Today is July 1st, 2024, which is a very, very special day for us. Ava, would you like to inform everybody why?
We are 4 years old.
Today is the birth of Reformed Film Lab. Well, 4 years ago, that is. That's probably a weird way of saying it.
Probably just a little bit.
It's been a labor of love these past 4 years. So today we're going to be discussing all things Reformed Film Lab, reminiscing about our favorite memories. What was it like to open a film lab in the middle of a pandemic? Feels kind of a long time ago.
Feels like a very long time
We
ago.
were in the COVID era. If you're watching here on YouTube or your ears are perked up, you probably notice we have a massive upgrade.
Yep.
It's our birthday gift to us.
Yes. So our other podcast microphones were not really working too well for us. So I invested in some nice podcast setup, and now things really sound great.
Yeah,
At least that's what we're hoping for. We haven't heard this podcast yet.
it's true.
Producer Paul is in the house today, and he's monitoring us. And I think he's given us the go-ahead. So before we get into today's topic, what do we have on the table today, Sierra?
Well, we have our We Sell Kodak film sign that has been back in our original days. We had it up on the wall. I think Kodak sent that to you, right? Or did you buy it?
I feel
Or
like
did
I
Sarah
bought that
buy
off
it?
eBay.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like I don't remember, but I feel like early on, for whatever reason, when we opened the film lab, I was like, oh, I need a sign in my garage. Because if you're new to Reformed Film Lab, the location we're in, we've only been here 2.5 years, going on 3.
It's been a while. Long, dude.
Yeah, but the first year, Reformed Film Lab actually started in the garage.
Your garage. The pit of despair.
What was that?
The pit of despair.
You got to do the cough. Don't even think about trying to escape. So, I started in the home garage.
We didn't.
And the day we moved, we have this on our Instagram. We have a photo of us in the garage with it empty. I think Sierra, Ava, and Faith are all like smiling, and John, who's not into peopling, he's standing like a foot away from everybody, just holding the sign, smiling.
Yes.
Just the most
also has
awkward
the-
photo.
Dent from when it fell in the
fell.
garage, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, right there in the corner.
It's in that corner.
Yeah, I think it was
It's a
hanging up and it
big
just
keg.
randomly fell one day.
Yeah.
So
Now it hangs in our glass window.
Yeah, no,
We need more.
We do need more of them.
We need to grow our collection of signs.
We don't just sell Kodak film.
no, we do sell
We sell
more.
a lot more.
A lot
We need to get a Cinestill one. That needs to be the first purchase.
Well, I'm going to email Daniel from Cinestill and tell him Ava has requested official merchandise or
Yes.
memorabilia
Please.
of the lab. So, yeah, that sign has been with us a long time. We sell Kodak film, and our film collection has exploded.
Yeah.
I mean,
Oh, yeah.
Sierra, do you want to tell people about our film collection?
It keeps getting bigger, and we don't always have good space for it. So it's been interesting.
Or any space.
Or any space. So it's been interesting shuffling things around and trying to fit things in the nooks and crannies of our storage units.
Yeah, we went from 2 U-line shells with the black bins. If you've seen any of our YouTube videos, you definitely seen them. We have one on, I think, organizing them one day. We
I think we
organized
do, yeah.
a bunch.
And when we alphabetized them, I think we made a whole video of like all the films we saw. I think the total number back then was 217.
Oh, yeah. I remember the thumbnail now in my head when we were standing in front of a
217 different films if you include 120 and 35 variants. But I think we've even added more now.
We definitely have.
Yeah. In fact, next week we have to do some product photography.
Yeah. We keep every Tuesday.
Yeah, I think every Tuesday past few
Tomorrow,
weeks. I'm like,
Get
hey,
it done.
Ava, will you do some product photography? And we're so busy we don't get to it.
Guess
I was
the
like,
end
let's
of the
do it
day.
next Tuesday. And then that Tuesday comes around and let's do it next Tuesday.
Next Tuesday.
I'm seeing it on my desk over there and we're going to get to it. So there's a couple new films from Adox, which are some black and white films, a new half frame camera from Holga. So that's coming to the film lab.
A few new
my-
boxes.
My favorite thing on the table is our leather keychains.
Yes.
How many of those do we have,
cute.
Mr. Michael?
So in the early days of naive Michael running a business, my background is not business management or supplies or anything like that or inventory. I come from the mental health world, and I met a vendor who said, hey, we can make these custom 35 millimeter keychains. That's right here on our, I'm just going to grab it real quick. right here, this thing, it holds one roll of film inside a canister, and you put it on your belts, your camera bag, etc. And it actually has our logo on it, which I'm very proud of. Sierra, you made our logo.
I did. Yeah, that was again very early on in the business because Ava and I were working for you just packaging film for Amazon
Yep.
a couple years before, year and a half
Yeah.
before the lab officially started. So, Michael, why did you even ask me? Like, I don't even know why.
I don't know. Yeah. So we started selling film on Amazon because my wife and I have always had a business on Amazon prior to the lab opening. And that eventually segued into, okay, we're selling film. I shoot film. Let's open a film lab. So there's a little bit backstory there.
Yeah.
But I think you and I were just talking one day and you're like, yeah, I do graphic design, or at least I want to. I was like, hey, I'm starting this film lab. Could you make us a logo?
Yeah. And then it was back and forth of me trying to figure out the font you wanted and the angle and the camera.
Oh, it was based off a t-shirt, I think, too.
It's a t-shirt I think Sarah had custom made for you that said Reform Film Life
Yes.
on it.
Yes.
So I was trying to copy that font without knowing what font Sarah had used. Come to think of it, why didn't I ask her?
I don't know. Maybe we did.
Maybe we did.
I think
don't
it was just like
remember.
a one-off thing she made on some friend's computer, and they made the shirt.
Okay.
And yeah, so Reformed Film Life became Reformed Film Lab.
Yeah. So yeah, I found the little camera. It took a bit because I didn't like any of the actual cameras they had, so I ended up drawing that.
Yeah.
Like outlining it an actual camera and making
sketching it in.
some line art. Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah.
Yeah, so that's how we got our logo. So, but yeah, I bought way too many of these. They have our logo on them. I think when I got them, I bought 3,000, 1,000 of each color. It's been 4 years, and we still have maybe over half remaining. So, what we should do, because it's our 4-year anniversary, is we need to make a discount code, and you can get these for half off. So there will be a code down in the description below. Yes.
Okay.
We're doing that right here on the spot. These are wonderful. Everyone should own one.
They are awesome,
They
though.
actually
Actually,
are
I
very
keep one on my
nice.
camera bag, and I need to get another one for my other camera bag because they're so useful.
Yeah. They are. We're not just saying that. They are actually useful.
No, I use it all the time.
Yeah, I think your camera bag's right there. We see them sometimes dangling off. So that is the story of the keychains.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, the Phoenix in every video.
The first
kind of a
YouTube launch.
The first YouTube launch.
Yeah, so that's why we have that. We launched YouTube December because Paul, I love you. He was telling me for well over a year, dude, you need to do YouTube. You need to do YouTube. I'm like, I'm too busy. We can't. And then Harmon reached out to us and said, hey, we're coming out with a new color film. Would you be interested in reviewing it? And this is the date it's going live. So I text Paul and I said, I think it's time. I think it's time.
And then he looks at all of us and is like, hey, you all are going to be famous. And we're like, wait.
We're like,
Yep.
What? Eva's the only one that got famous, though.
That's not true.
YouTube star over
You should have
there.
seen her. She came in today at 2 p.m., rolled in,
Yeah.
took a
Today,
camera,
I
went and shot some film.
Free film.
Today's
and then
technically
come back.
was my day off, but Michael asked me to come in to do a few videos. So
And you'll be gone
I can't
tomorrow.
She shooting the new Pentax 17 today.
Yep.
yes, we did.
Yeah, we had the Pentax 17 because tomorrow, July 2nd, this video will probably be posted well after that. We're actually getting units in for sale. So today we are working on our YouTube review. We shot some of it today and we will be finishing it up tomorrow. And the last thing is our films.
Our film.
Personal film.
Yep.
Reform night shots and day shots.
Go shoot him.
So
All right.
Sierra has the docket
I
today.
do have the docket.
Apparently there are a list of questions we're going to go through and just talk about the
Wait, these are
history.
from people?
Reform Film Lab. They are from you guys.
Oh, from
Us.
us? Or like,
Well, you weren't here earlier because you slept in and just came rolling in at 2
Yeah.
o'clock. So
From us, yeah.
Celeb
We
over there.
suggested the questions to be asked.
yeah, we have questions because past few podcasts we've talked about film photography being popular, but since it's our birthday, we thought we'd talk a little bit about the history, kind of peel back the layers of how did Reform Film Lab actually come to be.
Yeah.
So Sierra, what do you have for us?
Yes. So I just want to mention really quick, in addition to our keychain discount, if you type in RFL4, there is a 15% discount on processing this week. So just find that link in the description below as well.
You're giving me the look, Ava. Should we talk about why we're doing this?
No.
Why it's only a
Or
week?
why we shouldn't really.
All right. So there is some context here, some backstory.
Story time.
Every year since we've been open, anniversary 1, 2, and 3, we've always done a percentage off film processing for our anniversary.
I think it was 20%.
It was
last year.
20%. And they've always been very busy months. And coincidentally, we've always had somebody on vacation. So it's always been a very busy month.
Yeah.
And I was very hesitant about doing it again because we're just busy in and of ourselves. You can see the previous podcast where we kind of discussed some of the details. We won't get into it today. But for I couldn't break the tradition. You've been asking me for every week for the past month, hey Mike, we going to do that thing?
Well, honestly, because again, we're not getting into it, but because of how much we've grown, I've been really curious to see what a sale month like last year would be like.
As of now.
I know it would be crazy, and I understand that we're not at capacity to do that right now. I was just very curious.
She's curious
Yeah,
because she
kept
doesn't
pushing
have to
for
do
it,
all
but
the
she had to
actual
develop the
processing.
film.
So that curiosity
When
calls
there's
then
a
to
lot-
us.
Me and Ava are
there's a
just
lot,
like,
I'm slamming
zombies.
away, you guys.
So
So you know what?
I'm curious.
Hush, you
Oh,
two.
gosh.
Yeah, Sierra handles customer service. She doesn't do much of the scanning. So she's
Not
like,
anymore.
how can I torture John and
How
Ava?
can we
I know.
torture all the people that process and
Gotta
develop?
keep the YouTube
funny.
star humble.
But I did think overall it was a good idea to continue it. So yes, use code RFL4 for 15% off one order this month. Take advantage of that. There was one year, I think the first year we did it all month, and that was great. But I think logistically we would have a difficult time doing it all month. But
Yeah.
it's great. So if you've been sitting on film, or if you have a big summer project, it's going to run the entire month, and it's good on your accounts.
Yes.
So yeah, we
Yep.
will continue the tradition.
All right. So speaking of traditions and the past, Mike, why did you start the lab?
That is a golden question. I think it has to do. I started shooting film again in 2016. I shot film as a kid. That's all we had when we were kids. No digital back then. I'm a little bit older now, and I don't know. I actually can't really remember why. Like, why did I choose to go back to shooting film? There wasn't anything that said, oh, I should go back into it. So I have a hard time remembering. But I remember buying a Canon AE1 from the flea market here in town. Clem's Classy cameras. I don't know if they're still open. And I shot a roll of black and white film, took it to Speedway Photo here in town. They develop film. And it took like 3 weeks to get back because they don't develop black and white film normally. I called and he's like, hey, I'm going to do it next week. I'm like, okay. I called again. He's like, nope, we've been too busy with our regular stuff. They do a lot of photo printing and things like that. And eventually he got it back to me and I just kind of fell in love with it. I was like, this is awesome. I had just photos of Juliet in the backyard with Sarah, very simple. And from there, I started developing my own black and white film at home in my bathroom. I kind of took over the bathroom, and Sarah wasn't very happy about it, and was developing my own black and white film. And then about that time, we started looking at selling film on Amazon. So I contacted Kodak, Ilford, and Fuji, and they all told me to get lost. Well, probably not so harshly, but their rationale was saying, like, if you have a business selling through Amazon, we don't want to just sell to you. We want you to be invested in the analog community. So then I didn't really let that deter me. I ended up finding a distributor who would sell us some film, kind of through them. And we started selling film on Amazon. And that's when I think you girls started. Does that sound about right?
Yeah, I think we started only a couple months after you started film on Amazon, because you used to do electronics.
Yeah, we used to buy and
originally.
sell electronics as a little side business. So I did mental health counseling mainly in the afternoon, evenings, and in the mornings we would sell electronics through Amazon as just a side business. And we've always had that for years, probably doing Amazon for now over 10 years. And when I started shooting film and really falling in love with it, I was like, well, why don't I sell something that I love? We started selling film on Amazon, and quickly we were like, okay, this sells well. And it was probably only 3 or 4 months into selling it, I had the idea of opening a film lab. So that would have been maybe the summer of 2019.
Yeah, and we started spring 2019.
2019, because you girls have been here
Yeah.
for 5 years. Yeah. Young Ava. So that basically seed was in my mind of saying, okay, I really like this. Why don't I open a film lab at my home and work like 1 day a week as something fun to do and then do mental health counseling pretty much full time? So towards the fall of 2019, I started looking at equipment, started looking at what would it take. And I think the initial investment was probably like $20,000 to $25,000. And I was like, whoa, I have this money saved. Let's go ahead and do it. It'll take probably a while to recoup it, but it'd be a fun thing to do. And then the day our film processor showed up, the guy brought it in the house and he's like, where's it going? I was like, oh, just put it in my master bedroom. That's going to be my film lab. Sarah and I were moving into a smaller bedroom. I still don't know how I convinced her to do that. And he puts it in the master bedroom and he's like looking at me. He's like, this is not a good idea, dude. You should not have this machine in your house. And he's like, you need to put it in your garage. And I already had the film scanners in the master bedroom. He's like, process your film in your garage and then bring the film inside and scan it. I was like, man, that's too much work. And so my dad's a general handyman. And he's like, why don't you just convert your garage into a room? And when you do that, you could have everything in there. And so that began the process of converting everything. Now we're getting into 2020 because I think I was getting the machines early 2020.
Yeah, 'cause
And
we were packaging film in your living room.
Yeah.
yeah, because the Amazon everything used to be ran out of the house. And so the idea was have the film lab in the garage. So we converted the garage, the pit of despair, and we opened July 1st, 2020. So 4 years ago.
Yeah.
It's been 4 years. So, yeah, I guess there was a lot of different things that led up to it. Just a general love for photography and wanting to have something fun to do that could potentially make me money and I could develop my own film. So, yeah, there is that part. I was like, I want to develop my own film. I want to scan my own film. I didn't want to send it to a lab and wait on it.
Yeah, I feel like all the employees that also shoot film, now we got the same thing. That it's like, I'm not going to send it somewhere else.
No way.
Like, I don't think I'll ever take my film anywhere else.
Yeah, Film Perk, you get to develop your film here. There's no charge. So, yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah.
you.
It's like when I used to work at
So much
Chick-fil-A,
debt.
you would get one free meal a day. Like when you
One
work the
free roll a
shift.
day.
So you guys
roll.
get free developing. But I guess that's the basic story is just a love for film photography and mental health counseling. I really enjoyed it. And sometimes I miss it. I really liked couples counseling, but it was nice to be able to have like a fun job. Like that's a serious business dealing with people, their problems. And, so to be able to have something that's essentially on the other side of the spectrum, that's more of a hobby business rather than a helping business. So that's kind of more or less how we got started. And very quickly, though, it was only maybe 2 or 3 months into it, we had enough consistent orders that I actually left mental health counseling altogether. I called, I was part of a group practice, so I called the supervisor of the practice and I just said, hey, I think I need to take a leave of absence probably through January. So this is July, maybe we're a couple months into it. And in October, November, probably not even before that, I told him, I was like, I'll take a leave of absence and I'll probably come back in January. Let me get this film lab thing squared away, slow it down, and I'll come back to counseling. And then in January, I basically told him, I was like, no, I'm hiring somebody. This strapping young man. So you started in January, right?
Yep. January 2021.
2021.
Right?
Yeah. I actually have this memory of Sarah was like, because we were looking to hire somebody and we were originally thinking about hiring your sister.
Yep.
Because your sister had worked helping us do packaging of film for Amazon. And I was like, well, what about her? She did great. And she came over and she's like, my brother John's really into photography. You should consider hiring him. I was like, I don't want to consider hiring him because I know you and I know you do a good job. And she's like, no, you need to think about him. And Sarah, I think knew you through the homeschool co-op.
Co-op, yeah.
Yep.
So she already knew you. And she's like, no, you need to hire John. So I have this memory of you coming in, walking into the garage. I was like, okay, here's the lab. And you were just kind of like looking around. I was like, so what do you think? You're like, yeah, okay. I was like, so do you want to work here? He's like, yeah. I was like, okay. And then I think you started part-time.
Yep.
I don't even remember how much you worked in the beginning.
I think it was 2 days, and then pretty quickly after I went to 3 days, and then I was doing that for a while. And then I think I went right to 5 days. I don't think I ever did 4. But yeah.
You
Yeah.
worked 5 days a week in the beginning?
No, I'm saying whenever I went full time because I don't think I ever.
no. I thought you
I think I
meant
only
like
did
last
3 days
summer,
that I was
though.
saying.
Or
Oh,
last
right,
spring
right.
or summer, though.
there were a
right?
few summers though when, at least when I think you were working in the lab part again, but we were working a lot more.
Yeah, or I picked up the extra days.
Yeah,
During the
sales
summers when
stuff.
you guys were out of
Summer.
school or on break while you guys were still finishing up high school. I remember you working more.
We only just finished not that long ago.
Yeah. So
for me, but yeah.
yeah, you guys started as teens and now you're adults all
Yeah.
working here
Ava
full
wasn't
time.
even
Barely.
a teen.
Yeah, that was back in the day when the business was so small. You get paid under the table cash.
Oh, here you go.
There you go. Ava was a
Child labor.
trooper.
No, just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Everything's above board.
It's above board. You got paid better than minimum wage back then. So and now, so it's all good.
That's true. We are
Way
very,
better.
very, very thankful.
So yeah, I think that's eventually because it grew. We got into January of 2021. We hired, and then at that time, I don't even remember timeline wise. Then you girls went from helping with packaging and customer service side of selling film to actually working at the lab.
Yeah, I remember going on and working, and John was teaching me stuff.
Yeah,
And then you came on after.
Yeah, because we only used to do Amazon on Wednesdays. It's the only day we did Amazon. So we were still doing Amazon on Wednesdays, but then we would go on Tuesday and Thursday and do the lab.
Is that what it was?
I think that's how we
I don't
began.
remember that, but okay.
And then you quickly transferred either out of Amazon entirely or like only was doing
You would
half
help
days of
whenever
Amazon
you
and
had
you would
much.
go into the lab.
That's what it was, yeah.
So
You'd
then
like just
you
go and unbox, and then you'd go scan or do whatever, and then come
Yeah.
back.
I'm a quick unboxer.
and then it would be Faith and I
was.
finishing up the Amazon.
yeah.
That's, yeah.
And then after a while,
And you started doing orders.
then I started.
Like
then
the
Faith
10 we
and I
had,
started
yeah.
doing orders, and then Faith got transferred off of orders, and I
Yeah, we
kind
definitely
of
had
have
a lot
stayed
of
there since
early
then.
on a lot of movements in what you guys did. But
Yeah.
then in the summer of 2021, it became very apparent. We had 4 people working in that garage. We were having to put more shelves in and things like that. And my wife, who homeschools our kids, was being driven crazy by the fact that there was just too much noise. I was in and out of the garage, interrupting her schooling. And she basically said, you need to get the heck out of here. And I really didn't want to move. I've loved working at home. You know, it was kind of that spirit of kind of COVID where everybody was working home, but I loved getting out of bed, walking, making a cup of coffee, then walking into the garage. But in hindsight, it was a move definitely needed because even this building we're in, we have filled up and at times it feels cramped.
Yeah, we need to buy the unit next to us.
Yeah, we need to expand into this unit. It's kind of this unknown building. We don't know what's next
Yeah.
door. But we definitely, in hindsight, it's definitely good that we moved. We actually have a storefront. People can come and visit us, and we've
Yeah.
had a lot of the Polaroid Wall of Fame is growing. So that's basically kind of the history of how the lab got started and where we are today. And ever since then, it's just been more growing. We have much more staff on going. So it's
Yeah.
been good.
So, what has been the hardest part of running the lab in general?
Dealing with us.
Dealing with you guys, dealing with John and Ava bickering all day. No, I'm just joking.
Doesn't happen that much.
Just
No,
whenever there's
just
tight
happen
quarters.
never.
I think nothing really stands out as one thing that says, okay, this is the hardest part, other than having to navigate kind of continual growth, like what is next. So the idea was this was just going to be, again, a fun hobby business. I wouldn't have to worry much about it. I will say I was forewarned when I was early on. I think we talked about this last podcast. Ryan from Boutique Film Lab, he was kind of mentoring me, and he kind of said, if you start this, you will get busy. Like, be warned. I'm like, okay, yeah, sure.
All right.
Crazy.
But probably just managing the growth has been hard. It's probably making decisions. Like you get to a certain point logistically with running a business, says, okay, I need to hire another person or someone needs to go full time, and then making that step has probably been kind of I guess you could say, the hardest thing. I've been blessed with good staff. You guys are amazing. So I've never really had to worry about that. And yeah, I'll probably think of something later, but that's probably what I think of being the hardest thing. I guess I'll turn the tables. So I'm not talking so much. You guys all started here as part-timers, as teenagers. and we're going to take a break. And when we come back, I want to know what's it like for you guys working here. So we'll be right back.
All right.
Jumping in here real quick, hope you're enjoying the story of Reform Film Lab. We're letting you know that we just finished filming the Pentax 17 review. It's in editing right now, and it's going to be our next video here on YouTube. So if you're not subscribed, now's a good time to do it. We're actually going to be giving away the 2 cameras that we tested, so all the details will be in that next video. This is a great camera, so let's get back to the show.
So what has it been like for you guys working at the lab? Because I've been talking a lot. What's the history like? Tell us.
I feel like something that was interesting more to like, I don't know, juggle was just school and work. Because, I mean, it wasn't like we were only working 1 day a week at first, so it wasn't too bad. I didn't find it too complicated. We just came in, worked 8 hours.
It was not 8 hours. It was like maybe 6. We wouldn't go all day.
No, I mean, like after when we got more into it.
When we got more into it.
Because then we were more into like high school. I think I may have still been in middle school.
I think you were either 12 or 13 when we
Well,
started.
when you first started, when it was probably just part-time coming in for like 4 hours. So I was like, I just needed some help and be like, hey, I'll pay you, come in. And you're like, yeah, cash. And it was just kind of easy money.
Okay,
like I mowed lawns growing up. Most kind of early young teenagers kind of do little odds and ends for work.
Summer job.
Yeah.
That's true.
And
That's
that
true.
we were so early on that, and then eventually when the lab actually formed, I was like, you were old enough. We hired you. There was taxes and all the official stuff with, more of a legit
True.
operation. But yeah, I mean, what's it been like for you guys? What are your thoughts on kind of growing up, starting here, working?
Growing up in the lab or like growing up with working that young?
Both.
both.
Yeah, both, whatever.
All of it.
I've loved it. It's really been it kind of like this job, like you were saying earlier, kind of fell into my lap. Grace was kind of like, have him do it. I was like, oh, I'll go check it out. And then I went in there, it was like really cool. It's perfect for me because it was like quiet little corner that I got to work in and didn't have to
Not
talk
a lot
to
of
anybody
people.
really.
So that's probably what you were
People
thinking when
already
you had
knew.
this.
Yeah, it was
I
a nice
couldn't
little quiet
tell what your
job.
face was trying to say when you came in. I was like, you interested? And you're like, yeah. I was like, okay. We'll see.
I remember it was kind
You
of
left. I'm like, I don't know about this guy.
Yeah, no, but I loved it, and it's helped me. Like, I've kind of like grown with it. So as I got older, I was able to. The lab actually, like, we kind of grew with it. So as we were getting older and needed more work, there was more work to do at the lab. So that was kind of like a nice thing that happened, and yeah, it's been awesome. I love working here.
I feel like on that same line of thinking, it's like because we grew up with the lab when we were slow, like us, we as a you as a company was also slow.
Yeah.
So our like learning curve, we weren't like rushing to get stuff out. Where I feel like some of the employees now they're having that like, okay,
catch up.
like. Yes,
Yeah,
so we
like
know you're a
Brianna.
beginner and like you'll learn and you'll get faster. But like for us, it seemed less stressful.
Yeah, there was less pressure for us to get it right away because it was like we didn't have that much to do.
Right.
Five
And
So
it's
we
like
could just
you got-
learn and
Yeah, kind of a young
Yeah.
company starting
Yeah.
out and growing logistically.
You got a
kinda
young
growing
company with
it.
young people.
young employees.
You can go up from there.
How old are you, Sierra?
I'm 20.
20, yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So, yeah, and I think too that also helped all of us with our work ethic, being able to build it and get better as we got busier. Being like, oh well, now I have to step my game up because we have more to do, and
Right.
just meeting those quotas every day and learning to be responsible with our time and stuff.
I think that also goes into the parenting. But yes.
I agree.
Yeah, my
It's
parents
not
are
all
still
about the
work,
same.
work
But-
ethic in me.
I was like, you got work ethic at home with chores. Like
I agree.
you learn that stuff too at home. But I
there's
agree.
a different
Yeah.
level when like we didn't know Michael when we first started.
Not
he was
really.
the dad of one of the kids at co-op. We didn't like know him really. So it was like, oh, it's almost a stranger and I'm having to test my work ethic with someone who's not going to judge me like my parents do. It was a different level of learning that work ethic.
Yeah, I remember my mom saying that your wife contacted her. I was like, hey, they need some help with packaging stuff. Would you be interested in that? And I
Yeah.
was like, yeah, sure. Sounds fun. And then we went in, and it was interesting at first because you had a lot of different people. Some people I had never met before. So
Yeah,
that was
yeah.
interesting because there was a lot of people in the beginning that, like, I want to say quickly, but kind of
was pretty
quickly
quickly.
moved out of doing that.
Yeah, I think we
Yeah.
had some, younger people from like from the church I was going to that you guys didn't know. So just a different group of association, and they didn't really have an interest or didn't really want to stick around. I think you two in particular, it was pretty consistent. Like you were there, you stuck around. I think having known, Sierra and Jules, having known you guys, we homeschool our kids. If you've, are tuning in for the first time, all of you guys are homeschooled.
Everyone here.
That's why we're so weird.
Yeah.
That's why you're also weird. Yeah.
Also, why we're smart,
I
okay?
went to public school, so they are a little weird.
It's a good weird.
It's
It's
kids,
weird.
though, so
It's good weird, yeah.
Right?
Bree went to public school, so she balances out the dynamic
She's
now.
normal.
Yeah. But
She's normal.
I think, having known you guys through that, my wife and daughter knowing your mom, you kids, etc. It was easy to, have you guys come into our home and work, because we did operate out of our home at first.
Yeah, and it was also so good to just having a good environment for our first job starting so young,
Yeah.
because, a lot of workplaces, they aren't, shall we say, kid friendly.
Yeah. You can
So,
see that.
It was, just a really solid place for
Particularly
us.
for Ava, because Ava was very
Particularly
young.
for Ava, and John's only 1 year younger than, or older than her.
Well, I've
so.
had though I tried to start packaging, and I had 2 other jobs that I was working at the time, so then I had to stop packaging. I was like, I cannot do this. So I did it for like a week or 2,
Also,
and then I
he
did
was
another
slow.
job, and then I got
was
done
slow.
with that, and then moved into the lab. But it's been nice having Michael as a boss, because he's very smart, and I can pick his brain, because I'm trying to get
Yes.
the photography thing going. And
Oh my
he's
goodness, the
very
best boss ever.
knowledgeable.
Yeah.
So it's fun to be able to pick his brain whenever I have a question. It's just like, what do you think, Michael?
Yeah, you guys
Yeah.
you two have a natural love for, Sierra, I love you, even though you're not into it. But you two have a natural love for photography. So that probably makes working here definitely more enjoyable.
Yeah,
It
learning.
does. I mean, even like when we're scanning something or like seeing other people do something interesting with their film, I'm like, okay, writing that down. I gotta try that. Or like we've talked about, like, okay, how do double exposures work? How can I do that? I haven't like fully tried it yet, but I really want to.
Yeah, we see some pretty wild double exposures
Yeah.
from
But-
time to time. Like
Yeah.
some people really nail them.
Oh yeah, and then
movie
you
when
see
you
some
posted.
people that try to, and you're like, I don't know what they did, but it didn't work.
It wasn't right.
So,
Yeah, that moon one, we have it on our Instagram. Someone
oh yeah,
took a picture of a moon, then double exposed themselves holding the camera, and the moon was in their lens.
It was
It's
wild.
that-
Cool picture.
Yeah.
wild.
And
Yeah.
even though I don't love photography, I love having this job because of the flexibility. I remember before I went full time, you were fully in support of, oh, you want to get off early on one day so you can go right at the library, go do that. Like, you've always been very
Yeah.
encouraging, even if our career choices weren't film and photography. So it was still still a very good work environment, and
I think too. Sorry.
yeah, just encouraging. That's all I was gonna
Yeah, I think too. I really saw how flexible you were when I started when I was going to college, and I had to
Yeah,
have
same
that
here.
attendance. I couldn't not attend to it, and every photography class was mandatory attendance.
Yeah,
and they
yeah.
usually had like weird hours,
It's true.
where it's like you have like a morning one, or you have like a late afternoon to evening one. So then I would come in on some days and work like, oh, I'll work this morning on this day, and then this late afternoon this day, and then I can work a full day this day, and then a few hours over here. So I definitely appreciated that.
Yeah, and you're done with college now.
Yeah, done.
Good job.
Full time.
Yeah, that was my secret plan, was for her to finish college and get
He's like,
Ava
yes,
to work there
finish.
full time. Yeah,
And then
finish.
all of us can use
And then I will
Ava's
take
knowledge.
you.
That's actually funny to me. I'm like, I was before Hope started working here, the youngest one. So now I'm not anymore, but
Got Isaac and Hope.
Isaac and Hope.
yep.
Yeah. So
New young bucks.
yes, we had earlier this week a small catastrophe having to do with ENC 2 film. As you can see by everyone's faces,
I'm laughing
why
at
do we
something else.
hate it so much?
I despise ECN2 film. No, I kid. I don't know.
He does. He does.
Sort of does. No, he hates
There's
when
a
we get it.
logistical reason, and it's purely logistical. If you're new to film photography and you don't know what that is, most color negative film is what we call C41 film. It's developed in C41 chemistry. And ECN2 film is motion picture film made by Kodak for Hollywood, and it requires You guessed it, ECN2 processing. The issue, though, is that ECN2 film has a black layer or coating of carbon on it. And the reason that layer is this, what is going on? Oh, there's a bird outside.
I thought it was inside for a second. I was like, what the heck is that?
So it has a black carbon layer because as it's going through a motion picture film so fast, it prevents static electricity from hitting the film. Ergo, shoots in a still 800T, and sometimes you can get static electricity through
Which
it
looks so cool.
as you advance your film fast. But anyways, that carbon comes off in our processor and gets everywhere. It's like this black film. And so whenever it happens, which we always look out for, it's like a 2 or 3 or sometimes 5 or 6 hour cleaning job. So I have nothing against ECN2 film. That's funny that you asked. But it's just the other day, we actually had a disposable camera come into the lab. And inside of that camera was a roll of film that was unmarked. And it went through the machine because normally it's marked ECN2 film. We see it. And Hope was just on autopilot, put it in, and we had to clean the machine again. So
Yeah, we later figured out those cameras, those disposable cameras, are specifically coming from Five Below.
yes, Five
So
Below.
if you get one, you don't open it. Like you probably won't know unless you're been doing it, seen it, the difference. Just be wary when you're buying them from them and send it to
Or you
Where
make a
have
note
we been
saying, I don't know,
sending
it
to?
could be-
Boutique Film Lab.
Yeah, we sent
Boutique.
ECN2 film to Boutique Film Lab. Most of our referrals go to him because
Yeah.
Brian was very kind to me in the beginning. So anything we can help them out with, we generally do. But yeah, ECN2 film, I do actually have an ECN2 film developing kit coming in. We're going to trial run developing so that if we do come across it periodically, we can at least process it. But we need to test it to make sure it's up to snuff on our end and we can actually do it well.
Yeah.
Well,
So
there
we
we
may offer that in the future, but as of now, I don't like it.
Yeah. So off of the development side a little bit, what are some of our favorite and fondest memories that we've made as a group over the years? And I'm kind of putting you guys on the spot a little bit, but
Conjuring up very fond memories. I think for me, the day we moved into this building
I was
was
actually just thinking
really
that.
special.
Dude,
Yeah,
I
it
was
was fun.
just
Yeah.
thinking
we
that.
were at Chick-fil-A. We're sitting on the floor.
I know. I was
Yes.
thinking about that. When we're on
with
the
the,
table,
with the
like,
one
like-
desk.
Yeah, when we moved
Lowered all
in,
the
we'll
way.
have some pictures right now on the screen. We'll send those to Paul.
Wait, you're putting them up?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
they're on the
yes.
screen right
Oh
now.
my gosh.
The YouTube screen. But yeah, we moved from the garage. I remember I scheduled you guys all to come in and we helped basically get everything ready. We had movers come in, put everything on the truck, drive down here and unload, and we kind of got everything roughly in order so we could at least go to work the next week. It was around Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
it was
weather
the
was
week
nice,
of
some of that.
Thanksgiving. So we closed the entire week. We moved, had a few days to kind of get things in order, have Thanksgiving, and then come back the next week and be in operation.
Good work week.
And it was just a fun day because we got here. I think you and Hope organized the
think it was Faith
film
at the
show.
time.
Oh, Faith.
Yeah.
I
Oh,
yeah,
confused them
Faith
because they
was
sound the
there.
same to me.
Crazy.
Faith, yeah. And I think that was a very special day because it was like, wow, we're actually moving to a retail space.
Yeah.
Did
a
we
lot
do
of
dinner?
people.
I think we
oh,
did.
Yes.
We went
Yeah,
to
that
We
was
went to
fun.
Takea.
Yeah.
What do they call that? What's it called?
Hibachi.
Hibachi.
Yes.
So we went to Takea tonight.
We
We
celebrated.
need to go to Takea for our 4-year anniversary. We're going to schedule that
I was gonna say, it's been a while.
It's been a long time. That used to be anytime there was a big
event. We
deal
would go.
going on, we would go. So
Yeah. So I think that probably for me stands out as a particular fond memory over the years. And there's been a lot, but I think that was just a big moment for us.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it was ginormous when we walked in. We were like, how are we ever going to use all this space?
Yeah, we went from a
Joke's on
400 square foot garage to a 1,300 square foot retail space. So we were tripling in size. So it definitely felt very large coming into this
Yeah.
building.
Can you imagine if we did that again though and like tripled our size now?
Oh my goodness.
Like how big it would feel again?
Yeah.
We'd fill it up.
We
We'd
would
fill
fill
it
it
up.
up. I
We'd
know.
fill it up.
I know we would.
Some of my favorite memories were just like random little like
Days I didn't work.
companies. That's true. That is true.
My off days.
Fridays.
I work Fridays.
Oh, you do? Oh, Mondays. Sorry, it's Mondays. Mondays.
It
No,
used
but,
to be Fridays.
It's always fun whenever a company would reach out and ask us to like do something. Like we had like some Ilford people, and so those are always really fun times. Like we'd come in and talk, and it was fun. And then we had the Phoenix that was super cool, and so those are fun times to be able to all work together on that. And it was exciting to have like a bigger company reach out to us.
And then we met one of the guys from Cinestill. He came down,
Yeah.
and
I was gone.
you were
Steven
gone.
Carter, I think, is his
And
name.
then we were like,
Yep.
"Hi, we just work here."
Yeah, he's way up there on the wall, one of the Polaroids that kind of got
He's
faded
one
from
of
the
more
sun.
faded ones.
But yeah, Steve from Cinestill, they
Really
just
cool
randomly emailed me one night, and I was in New York. Sarah and the kids and I went to New York for a getaway.
That's
But
what
the
it
day
was.
we got to New York, I caught COVID, and we all caught COVID. So we were stranding in a New York hotel, sick with COVID for 5 days.
That's what it
Cinestill
was.
emails me. He's like, "Hey, Steve from Cinestill's in town. He wants to come see you tomorrow." And I was like, "Go for it. I am not there. I'm in New York," which is ironic because I think he's up from around New York. So we literally
You
swapped.
switched spots.
But I think he has family somewhere here in Florida. And he's like, "Yeah, no worries. He'll come back by." But he came and hang out with you guys.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he was a
fun.
really cool dude. Had a lot of stuff.
He brought a bunch of.
He brought stuff. I don't remember
He
exactly.
brought Ava a
what it was
bunch
now.
of merchandise.
It wasn't mine. Okay.
Well, he brought us merchandise, and Ava stole all the 800T from
Yes.
us and did not
That's
give
before
it.
you were really in it.
I
I
did
think.
not steal
It
it
wasn't
all.
that long ago. I feel like
It was a while ago because Faith was still working.
That was before 800T
That
was
would have
like a
been
thing.
It was newer,
February of
still.
2020.
Yeah, it wasn't my
so
thing
about
yet.
a year and a half ago that we went.
Well, that was right before 400D was coming out because that's why
Yeah.
he was going around, and I think he had some 400D stickers, and we were like, "Oh my gosh, this is so
Yes,
cool."
he did have
Yeah.
400
That was when they launched
stickers.
that.
That was a fun launch. That was a fun one.
That was fun.
I wish we had been able to do a release video for that. That would have been really cool.
Oh,
if we had been
man.
into YouTube and Cinestill had reached out to us, that would be
yeah.
awesome.
That would've been awesome.
Well, Cinestill, when you come out with your new film, we will
Yeah.
review it for you.
Let us know.
Wait,
A new
they're
film.
coming out with new film?
I don't know.
No.
Maybe.
They need a green box.
They
They
need
do.
green, yeah.
They have red, blue, and purple. They need a green.
And purple.
And
If
then
they come out
gray.
with one. Yeah.
They have
They-
gray.
if they do.
Right.
They do have gray.
Don't leave out the black and white.
I actually love that film.
It's a good film. Go
Yeah.
shoot that one too.
Trying to think. I just love the camaraderie we have. It's not like individual events necessarily, but like just the jokes and the fun that we have together on a semi-daily basis. I think is just fun.
It depends on where everyone's working.
It's true.
Because if I'm at the computer exporting, I don't really talk to anyone because
That's how
I
we like
stay
it.
there for many hours. But then if we're jerk. If we're all processing, especially now with like Hope in the mix, if John and I are scanning and processing and Hope is prepping, we'll talk about the weirdest stuff, but it is
It's
so
true.
much
No,
fun.
no.
He
Hope and
hates
Hope and Ava talk about the
No,
weirdest
no.
stuff.
Hope and Ava.
And then
No.
Hope, like, what would you do if a polar bear walked into the lab?
Look, we're just making your life
Yeah,
We live in
exciting.
Florida.
The ceiling.
We're making your life exciting, okay?
Hope is very interesting. She does talk about some interesting stuff, but I do
Very
agree. Like
That's
the
true.
group dynamic, the group psychology works really well. Like
Yeah.
I think
Yeah, we
you know,
mesh
if you can come
well,
into a
I guess.
workplace and really get along with your peers and your coworkers, it definitely makes life much more sweet because you
Yeah.
spend so much time at work. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and that's where like Bree, when she came on, she actually went to college with me. So I already knew her. And then she needed to do an internship somewhere. And she kind of shot film. And I was like, shoot film. Like, you should shoot film. So she got into more shooting film. And then I was like, hey, I wonder, let me ask my boss if you can come intern for us. So then she came and interned for a while for her class. And then once after her internship was up, you asked her to come
Yeah,
work
we
here.
were just getting busy, and I asked her if she would be interested in working part time. She texts back, "Yes, absolutely," and so that worked out
Yeah.
well. And yeah, she's definitely a very good fit. Her temperament and you guys get along well. Y'all are the same age, and although we did find out today she has not seen the Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, or Harry Potter, so I don't know how long she'll last.
I don't know, yeah.
I'm just kidding, Bree. We love you.
We do love you, Bree.
But yeah, so we have to just culture her a little more, and she'll be fine.
Yeah.
So
Bring her into the weirdness.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I had to intertwine. I'm sorry.
all right, producer.
hello,
Intertwine.
Paul.
I just I'm gonna get cut off here on the edge a little bit, but I want to say that I've been on the outside looking in to just this group of people in the staff.
Editing our videos.
Editing your
Editing
videos,
the hours
yes.
of videos we
But I come here and I shoot stuff with you guys, and I get to see and experience just the family, the camaraderie. Sierra, yes, you don't shoot photography very well, but and you don't love it. She loves that auto mode, but you you do hold this. I think you're like the big, sister of the whole staff. You're holding everybody, and you
Keeps them all in line.
and the customer service that you provide to people just for the customers here is amazing. I mean, you can see the passion and the desire that you have for not only the staff, but just for the customers and anybody who's putting these orders in online. So yes, you might not have the passion and love for photography as much as maybe everybody else does, but you have it where everybody, and I think everybody evens everybody out here very well, where you all fill in each other's gaps, and where everybody's missing qualities, you all just kind of come together and get it all in one spot. So I just wanted to throw that 2 cents in there, especially I wanted to encourage Sierra, because everybody gives Sierra a hard time about not liking photography and everything, but she's got it where it counts. So
Yeah, that's all right. We're gonna get her shooting more films soon.
We tried to. Okay, we tried.
We tried.
All right. That's all right. She's still here.
Sorry,
We
when
we
was
still
last
have
time
time.
y'all invited me out?
Still have time.
I don't shoot with other people.
Go shooting with other
trying to get me.
people.
No, I'm
Hey, we
kidding.
try, but it doesn't
I'm
work.
completely kidding.
No, I don't try.
Yeah.
I don't like group shooting.
No, we know, John.
So what's the next topic on the docket
Yes,
today?
the
I think
next
this is my
topic.
favorite one.
Speaking of
What is it?
customer service, Paul, the next one is, what are the craziest customer service emails and order notes
Okay.
that we've gotten?
I'm going first because it's actually probably the most recent. We did our April Fool's 2024 prank.
Go shoot the Portra 1600. I cannot wait to shoot some more of it.
I'm Karamir, Soldier of Gondor. We are super grateful to Kodak sending us the Portra 1600 film.
And I'd say most people found it funny. Yeah. It started off as a serious video, and then it just gets more and more ridiculous. And yeah, Kodak didn't really come out with a Portra 1600. And we emailed our customer base saying, hey, this new film is out. Check out our preview video. Well, some guy must have watched it. He emailed me back a reply, and he was like, I can't believe you guys did this. Time is so precious nowadays, and you're effing wasting my time. And I was just like, whoa. So I didn't reply back. Generally, if someone's going to be that strongly opinionated over a April Fool's joke, they clearly should not be on the internet that day. Like, avoid the internet on 4/1. But that was probably the most recent, like, crazy one that we've had that just kind of stuck out to me. And I didn't reply. And we haven't heard back from him. So I hope he's valuing his time well.
Yeah.
Well, let's hope.
I feel like, see, again, I do so much of the customer service.
You see a lot of
I
emails.
see a lot of emails, and I'm trying to remember like the ones that really stand out to me. I'm trying to think, like, what are some good ones?
I know one.
All right, go ahead.
Go ahead.
I don't know how much I remember or how much I should say, though. There was somebody who emailed us before sending their film and was asking, like, or saying that they didn't know what was on the film. They found it. It was her recently deceased husband. She said he had, what I can remember, basically a crazy college life. So, but then she also asked us if we needed the death certificate
To develop the
to
film.
develop the film.
I remember this.
So Michael saw it, screenshotted it, and sent it to our RFL chat we have. And we were all very confused.
Yeah, I think she was, for some reason, she was under the impression that since he died, she needed to prove he died so we could develop his
we could-
property, his film.
bet.
And
I was
his
like,
not
no.
so great maybe film.
Yeah.
I think that was the point. Maybe that he
she
did anything
was-
illegal. She wanted everyone to know that he
She was
was.
like, it's okay,
gone.
he's dead. He can't do
If we
anything.
see anything illegal, he's dead.
I think that was.
Sorry.
There wasn't anything. I remember scanning. I don't think there was anything
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
bad on there. That I
Yeah.
remember. We see
Yeah,
some
the only
crazy
other
stuff.
one I remember was early on. We had somebody email us asking about some review he wrote on some film, and we use a third-party review partner who reviews get sent out, they verify them and they post them to our website. Well, I guess his review for some reason got flagged in their system. I don't know why. Sometimes they'll flag it for vulgar language or something. They don't think it's genuine. And he emailed me back a very mean email saying that we were purposely censoring his reviews and that he's just trying to help out the film photography community, and that we were essentially doing a very naughty thing by not publishing his review. And so essentially what ended up happening is I went onto the review website, unflagged his thing, and by that time he had emailed back again. He was just like overly accusing me of kind of being a fraudulent person. And so I didn't reply. Generally, if someone writes a very harsh email and it doesn't necessitate a reply, I don't reply. I just move on in life. And he ended up writing back multiple times, and every time he wrote back, his tone started getting softer. Like, oh, hey, I'm just trying to help out the film photography community, this and that. And it was just a very odd thing. But what tipped me off about him was early on when he emailed us, he was wanting discount codes. And then he wanted something else. So it was one of those customers, like they're asking for stuff. And then when something goes wrong, they get really, really upset. And
Was that the person that went on to Reddit?
No, that was a different one.
the Reddit?
Who was the guy that went on to Reddit? And it was like
He got so
a big
mad
thing.
at us
What was it about?
We lost his negatives.
Oh, this is a funny one. So
Well,
Oh, yeah, this is a good story. No, it is funny. It is funny.
it's
I
funny
don't
in the
remember.
sense that we as a company do our best to provide excellence.
Yes.
We're human beings though, and we will make mistakes from time to time.
Yes.
And do you remember the details of this? He wrote a Reddit post.
See, this has happened a couple times, so I'm trying to remember if it's the one I'm thinking.
He
the
wrote a
situation I'm
Reddit post
thinking
basically
is.
saying, Reformed Film Lab lost my negatives.
Don't
I'm
go
not
there."
angry, but I just want my negatives back.
Well,
I'm not-
and they just don't.
It was
They just
it was
don't
something about
do
us
a good
too.
job, or like they don't value their customers, or something like that. Something very snide about our the way we handled the situation. Even though, I mean,
No, and
usually
then
when we
you
lose people,
and then you reached out to him, I think, and then it turned out he had.
I reached out to him and I apologized. I said, hey, I'm sorry those negatives weren't sent back. Yeah, it is our policy that if you have negatives being sent back, that we send them back to you. With how we operate logistically from developing, scanning, and packaging, I really don't know what happened, but errors will occasionally happen from time to time. And I think I just refunded his order. I was like, hey, as a courtesy, you're our first-time customer. We're going to go to refund that. Even though we developed your film, we scanned it, we sent the images, and
the only thing he didn't get was the negatives.
was not even, I think he got some, but he was missing some.
Are you sure?
I thought
Was it that guy?
No, maybe it was there. Maybe this is a different thing I'm thinking. I'm maybe thinking of a different one. But I
Well,
thought
anyways,
it was
long story short, he ends up emailing back saying, oh, turns out I found them. You guys did send them to me. And he apologized. And I just said, hey, man, because then he was like, you can recharge me. I was like, hey, no worries. We've already refunded you. I'm glad you found your negatives. The only thing I request is that you go and update your Reddit post to inform the analog community
Whoever read
that
it, yeah.
we didn't really lose your negatives. And I don't think he updated it. I think he deleted it, which was unfortunate because he already put that out there.
Right. People already
And
saw it.
anyone who saw it would know.
But yeah, sometimes we, mistakes are made here and there. They're rare, but in general, we always
We're
try to
local.
make up for them and move on
I know.
and provide good service.
Yeah, there's been a few times where that's happened, and it's been unfortunate, the series of events, but I just remembered another one where we had a single day in May where 4 or 5 people's film never showed up. It was all on one day that they were all supposed to get here. And I remember one of the people, I'd been, emailing back and forth with these couple of people saying hey, your film isn't here yet. There's nothing we can really do until it gets here. We don't have any control over that. And this one person kept insinuating that we had their film
And we're being
messed it up
dishonest.
and being dishonest about getting it.
Yeah.
And she was very snide and
remember
just
that. Yeah.
convinced that we had either lost it
Or lied about it.
or lied
Yeah,
about
and
getting it.
I kind of gently confronted that person with saying, listen, we don't have your film. And that person replied back saying, well, I could see how if you got the film and then you messed it up, how you would be tempted to lie and say you never got it and not just take responsibility for it. And I was like, listen, we've had mechanical failures with issues and we always take responsibility for it. and we always, replace film and this and that.
Yeah, I mean,
and then they reply back. He's like, well, I wasn't insinuating that you would do it. I'm like, well, why are you even
Well, then
bringing
why
it up?
would you bring it up?
Yeah, it was peculiar.
Yeah, or there was this one guy I remember, and we had again lost someone's negatives. We had done our best to like say, hey, we're looking for them. We don't know where they are. And Mike had gone out of town, and Mike had been the one who had spoken to him.
Mm-hmm.
And so the few next times that he had come, all of the rest of the staff, we were like, maybe Mike found them, maybe he didn't. We don't know where they are. We can look for them, and we looked for them several times over and just could never find them. And he had been a local customer, and he had come in like really mad at us multiple times, and then also emailed like scathing emails with some very interesting language, calling all of us like immature employees and just getting up on us about how we were inexperienced and underqualified and all of this stuff. And it was just funny because I had been the one who spoke to him when he had come in the few couple of times, and I was the one who answered the email. I was like, well, I offered you this option and I offered you this option when you were in the store. Why don't you want one of these options? It was just very odd. I mean, again, we always feel bad when we lose someone's negatives, but it was to a point where we did our absolute best to find them.
And I'm pretty sure, like, I don't think we ever figured out exactly what happened with those.
Yeah, I think
That
for anybody
rarely
listening,
happens.
that's extremely, extremely rare that we lose somebody's negatives. Because again, we have a process of once it's done, develop and scan, we immediately pack it.
Right.
We probably process 1,000 rolls of film a week, and maybe once every few months, a negative will go missing. So contextually, it's 0.000 something percent.
Yeah,
but
so
I
it's
guess
very strange.
we've had a couple times, and at times too, most people tend to be understanding if we have an issue. They're understanding because we go out of our way to make up for it. Most labs have a policy of maybe replacing film, but we tend to replace film and refund your order. We try to go above and beyond. So
Yeah, I mean, for people that have, we have messed up their film, you can attest to the fact we own up to it.
yeah.
Because there's been times where like the Jobo's just gone whack,
Yeah.
and it's like we don't know what happened. The lid fell off while it was processing, or it just didn't process half.
Yeah,
of it,
we
like,
run old hardware.
malfunctions
Hardware's
and
old
stuff like
for
that,
processing
so.
film. So, again, the error percentage is so minuscule.
Yeah.
There's something to be said that if there's an issue, we respect our customers and we want to serve them well. And if we do make a mistake, again, we're human.
Yeah.
Humans work at, not Tesla robots. Humans work here.
No AI working.
No AI.
Thankfully.
Which kind of leads me to the next point. What is the future of Reformed Film Lab? I think that's our last topic, right?
More
That
film.
is our
Or film.
more film.
That's going to be another podcast, the future of film photography. I got some ideas for that.
Okay.
So I think going forward into 2024, we're going to be focusing more on YouTube content, creating podcasts. That's why we've invested in these podcast setup. And so we're just going to keep making content. Paul's smiling over there. He's like, bring it on. So I think we will close this podcast off with what do you want to see from Reformed Film Lab TV, YouTube, in 2024?
Yeah.
Leave us a comment down below.
Yeah. Of stuff you'd want to see. Also, is there anything that we, the staff, would like to do on the YouTube channel that we haven't
Oh, yeah. What do you guys want to
What
do?
do we wanna
I
do?
have ideas. What do you want to do?
I'm just going with the flow.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think I have anything specific right now that I can think about. Usually it's he'll text us with like, hey, let's try this. And we're like, oh, okay, sounds fun.
Which is good because I have lots of ideas to do film photography reviews and to torture you guys. So I'm glad you have no idea.
I came up with an idea today.
Oh no.
So we all know the Sun film, right?
Oh, yes.
The Sun
Challenge
film-
video.
A challenge video where we each take a roll of Sun film. Sun film, for those of you who don't know, is a one.
FPP, Film Photography Project,
Yeah.
ISO 1
ISO
film.
1.
ISO 1.
I think we have had, ironically, one, maybe two rolls of
Customers.
film of this type of film that have actually come out and had images on it. I think it would be very interesting if we did a challenge video to see who of us can get good exposures on it.
Yeesh.
Anyway, I was packing an order that had
And
it
the winner
today.
gets a roll of 800T. Now are you incentivized?
Yes. I will participate.
Yep. All
I don't
right.
think I'll win,
All right.
but I'll participate.
I think.
I think. Oh, sorry.
Our microphones sound great, don't they? Thanks, Paul.
Thank you, Paul.
All right. Well, I think that's going to do it for today. We appreciate everyone tuning in and learning a little bit about the history of Reformed Film Lab. Here's to year 5, and we'll see you in the next one.
Cheers.
Cheers.